Welcome to the Business Strategy Analyst Africa channel, where we embark on a journey to unlock the untapped potential of the African business landscape, while challenging the status quo of business and management practices, revolutionizing these to make them modern and practical. For Africa, we examine management, leadership, strategy, technology and education to make them more relevant within the African context. In the heart of Africa, dreams are born, visions are realized. Meet the dreamers who are shaping the future of the continent. Innovation is the lifeblood of Africa's growth. Witness the game changers who are pioneering new solutions. Every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. Explore the strategies and solutions to overcome the obstacles. Investment and partnerships are key to scaling African businesses. Witness the bridges being built between countries on the continent, using such platforms as the African Continental Free Trade Area and newbieandbiz.com. Africa's potential is limitless, and the journey has only just begun. Join us on Business Strategy Analyst Africa, where we continue to unlock opportunities and inspire change.
Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, the Business Strategy Analyst. And I am your usual presenter, Jules Nate Tokoli. Thanks so much for joining. In a world structured around egotism and competition, many have sought to unduly mystify their abilities and talents. And there are always those who would hype such persons' achievements, blowing them out of proportion to make them look like gods. Meanwhile, those that seem not to possess such talent have often allowed themselves to be whittled down to accepting that someone is better than them, more special, kind of superhuman. No wonder, for we have created for ourselves 10 gods who set the standards for us. And by their standards, we are adjudged either smart or stupid. And we have created systems along those lines. For instance, even though we are all unique, we have an educational system which has created a straitjacket into which everyone must fit. The one who is unable is labeled a dropout, a misfit, instead of helping that person to unearth his abilities. No wonder the world is in a dire state of hopelessness, since everyone seems to be going in just one direction. Through those mindset and systems, we have killed many talents. Indeed, many Steve Jobses and Bill Gateses, because we made them feel that they were useless just because they failed exams. Today, the world continues to celebrate the late Steve Jobs' life for the way he, as an individual, single-handedly changed the world through technology. But if Steve Jobs had sought a managerial position in some large organization when he had dropped out of college, who would have considered him? Yet, he created the world's now third largest information technology company by revenue. Certainly, entrepreneurship is a very important vehicle for job creation and economic growth. And that is what the likes of Steve Jobs did and are doing. However, just like the other phenomena that the world considers to be very phenomenal, entrepreneurship has often been blown out of proportion to the extent that useful as it is, ironically, people dread to be entrepreneurs. This is because for so long now, entrepreneurship has been mystified. Many have made fetish of the phenomenon, giving the impression that it takes a superhuman to be an entrepreneur. Others believe that it is a special gift that is not available to everyone and that it can't be taught. Is that true? Do you believe those views? In this episode, we'll attempt to decipher how entrepreneurship came to be shrouded in mystery. That will set the tone for us to figure out how we can demystify it. Entrepreneurship is basically built upon two pillars, namely innovation and creativity. To innovate is to make changes in something already existing, as by introducing new methods, ideas, or products. While creativity involves the use of imagination or original ideas in order to create something. From these two definitions from the concise Oxford Dictionary, we can presuppose that everyone has the capacity to be creative and innovative. It is simply a choice. As humans, we are all endowed with the ability to be creative and innovative. We'll come back to this point later. However, there are certain external factors that determine whether we are able to exploit those faculties or not. Among these are the environment in which we were raised and formal education. If we were raised in an environment where we were made to believe that the only option in life is to be employed by a large organization, we would hardly think of harnessing our creative and innovative prowess for entrepreneurship. And if that situation was coupled with stories of how certain entrepreneurs failed or fear of risk, our fear of risk will cause us to recoil into our shells and never seek to sharpen our creativity and innovativeness. Further, the world's educational system is structured to produce not entrepreneurs, but employees. So right from primary school, we are taught to think in terms of passing our exams well, getting a good degree, maybe a second or third or even more, and that would guarantee a good salary and a successful future. With the preponderance of that mindset globally, it takes only a few brave ones to take the bold step of starting up a business. And since they are few in number compared to the majority who seek employment, they are viewed as super, as having certain qualities that are not in other humans. But that is pure fallacy. Sure, it takes some very special qualities to succeed as an entrepreneur. Yet the truth is that anyone who decides to can be innovative and creative, and thus be an entrepreneur. Those that oppose the idea that everyone has the potential to be an entrepreneur often do so chiefly because they are oblivious of the work systems society has created that stifle entrepreneurship mindsets. Those are to blame and not the people. Some also confuse entrepreneurship with sound management practice. Hence, when an entrepreneur fails, many will think that it is his idea that failed. While that is true in some instances, in many cases, it has to do more with his management style, especially people and financial management skills. Being an entrepreneur does not necessarily mean that one can be a good manager. And that is what some entrepreneurs unfortunately fail to realize, which causes failure. That notwithstanding, another truth is that in the in entrepreneurship, failure is success. So the entrepreneur views his failure as a disguised blessing that, handled properly, would propel the business to greater heights. Having realized now that entrepreneurship is not reserved for a few talented people, we now have to disabuse our minds. For it's one thing knowing the truth, but quite another thing accepting it. It is when we accept it that the shroud can be taken off for us to see entrepreneurship in the right light. How do we do that? The first thing is to convince ourselves that we are uniquely designed as individuals to be creative and innovative. The one that made us in his image placed those creative and innovative qualities in us. It is built into the human species, quote unquote, according to Eugene Rousseau in his book, How Creative Are You? Once we convince ourselves of that and actively work to invoke those qualities in us, we will be surprised at just how amazing we can be. Science believes that using the right side of the brain helps us to be creative. And since we all have that side of the brain, it means we can all be creative. Thus, by stimulating that creative part of the brain, we will begin seeing things differently from what anyone else sees. It may make us seem insane to some, but there is the trick. For example, when Steve Jobs dropped out of college, he hung on to one lecture in auditing and stated that had he not taken that calligraphy lesson, the Mac wouldn't have been born. During that time, he was sleeping on the floor in his friend's room and returned Coke bottles for cash. Wouldn't you have thought he was insane? Yet the truth is now there for us to see. So don't be afraid to think outside of mainstream thinking. One way to stimulate the creative part of the brain is to have adequate sleep. That may seem absurd to some, but actually, sleep is very important. If you find yourself trying to figure out a creative solution to a challenging issue, simply go to sleep. Quote, many people have found that a problem unresolved at bedtime seems much simpler in the morning, as if the brain had been quietly working on it overnight, unquote, notes the Times of London. And researcher Dr. Ulrich Wagner said that sleep acts as a creative learning process, quote unquote. So make sure you sleep very well, and that will help the creative part of your brain to function properly. Reading is also very important in developing the creative mind. Reading a wide range of materials on various subjects from fiction to physics helps to develop the creative mind. This is because since we are independent as humans, as we read what others have researched and written down, we acquaint ourselves not only to the beauty of the different styles of writing there are, but also to interesting pieces of information that we can join or piece together with our own to have a clearer picture that may as well be the jewel we need for our business. Also, when we see an artwork, we listen to music, we watch a drama or movie, it's not simply to enjoy their beauty and satisfy ourselves with that. It's helpful to imagine what may have moved that artist, that musician, that playwright or scriptwriter to come up with such a masterpiece. In other words, it is helpful to seek to know beyond what is obvious, and that is a way to develop our creative minds. It is no wonder then that Proverbs are very beautiful and powerful. Both the one that creates the proverb and the one to whom it is said have their creative mind stimulated to get the meaning. And when the meaning is gotten, it is not applied to just one event or phenomenon, but to a wide range of life's experiences. By putting the thought processes to work that way, our imagination is heightened and our understanding is enhanced, opening doors to create creativity before us. Developing interest is also very crucial for creativity and innovation. When we have interest in something, we learn it with a passion and practice it with finesse. Thus, it is important that you develop an interest in entrepreneurship. No one can force you to do so. Today, many people go to school to study things they are disconnected from. Their motive is the job market and how much money they can make. But that is short-sighted and kills creativity. In his popular speech to students of Stanford University, Jobs encouraged them to look for their passion and follow it. He said, quote unquote, keep looking, don't settle. If you also keep looking and not settle till you find what you want, that is when your power of creativity and innovation will be triggered off for marvelous things. It is when we all seek to develop our creative minds and elicit our potential that we can really reach our dreams. Indeed, the world would have been a better place if we were all not made to live up to someone else's standards by the system and we did things our own unique way. That is one huge fault that has caused the retrogression in the world. I believe that there are many Steve Jobses who are tellers at some banks because they are struck by the myths surrounding entrepreneurship. Can you imagine how those would have contributed to impacting people's lives? Granted, not all of us can be entrepreneurs due to varying circumstances. So I'm not advocating a mass conversion of everyone to entrepreneurship. However, I believe that there are many who could make great entrepreneurs out there, and you may be one, who have settled in their comfort zone and not going out. These are the ones I am challenging to come out. It is not only entrepreneurs that have to develop their creative and innovative skills. Employees also need to do so in order to add value to their employer's business. Some talk about entrepreneurship, i.e., being an entrepreneur within an organization contributing to innovation. That is also a useful way to apply one's creativity. However, there are some corporate organizations that simply do not encourage creativity and innovation. If you are in any such organization, please, I implore you to resign as soon as practicable. You may be assured of your salary, all right, but do you really enjoy what you are doing? Are you challenged to use your creativity? If you know you have something to offer, please don't delay. Otherwise, you may live to regret someday in the future. Indeed, creativity and innovation are not the preserve of just a few. We all have the potential, and entrepreneurship is nothing mythical. What matters is the will. If you really have the will, you'll find a way. Don't allow yourself to be deceived into believing that you are not creative. If you really believe that you are unique and you do well to unearth that uniqueness, you may find your talent. However, be sure to not to do so just to satisfy your ego or with a competitive mindset. That attitude would rather act retrogressively against your vision. Know yourself. Be yourself. Build confidence in yourself and put yourself to work. You may as well be the world's next Steve Jobs. So now, here are the highlights. Entrepreneurship is basically built upon two pillars, namely innovation and creativity. We are each uniquely designed as individuals to be creative and innovative. Science believes that using the right side of the brain helps us to be creative. And since we all have that right side of the brain, it means we can all be creative. One way to stimulate the creative part of the brain is to have adequate sleep. Another is reading. Reading is also very important in developing the creative mind. When we see an artwork, we listen to music, we watch a drama or a movie. Let's imagine what may have moved that artist, that musician, that playwright or script writer to come up with such a masterpiece. Appreciate the depth of Proverbs. Develop an interest in entrepreneurship. So, folks, here we come to the end of another interesting episode of the Business Strategy Analyst. On this note, may I extend a warm welcome to our new subscribers. Thank you so much for your support, and we hope you will like, share, and continue to watch our videos. Having discussed this topic of becoming an entrepreneur, you still may be wondering, should I or should I not? Join me in the next episode of the Business Strategy Analyst on the topic, to be or not to be, the reflections of an entrepreneur. Until then, it's goodbye.